If you're in your 30s and you're feeling exhausted all the time, your periods are painful, and no matter what you do, you can't lose weight, your hormones might be the missing piece. In this video, I'm answering the most common questions women ask me about their hormones so you can finally understand what's going on in your body and what to do about it. Welcome back to the She Is Well podcast, the podcast where we talk all things hormones, weight loss, metabolism, faith, fertility, and so much more. I'm your host, Natalie Trapasso, a registered dietitian, and today's episode is going to be a Q&A style, which is going to be a little bit different than what I do usually. But if you're in your late 20s and 30s and you feel like something's off in your body, maybe you're tired, you're struggling with your weight, you're dealing with painful periods, or feeling like your moods are all over the place, this episode is for you, so make sure that you watch it till the end. I want to break down some of the most frequently asked questions about hormone balance, giving you simple, honest, and practical answers. Whether you're just starting on this journey or have been trying for a while, I want you to leave today's episode feeling hopeful and empowered. So let's just dive right into the questions. The question number one is, should I test my hormones? This is one of the most common questions that I get asked, and it does make sense. When you're exhausted, you're bloated, you're moody, or you're stuck with painful periods, of course you want answers and you want to know what's going on in your body. But here's the truth. Hormone testing can be helpful, but it's not always necessary right away. Most of the time, your symptoms are the best clues. You don't need a lab test to confirm what your body is clearly trying to tell you. Also, depending on when or how you test, the results might not reflect the true picture or what's really going on in your body. You have to test your hormones at specific times of the month, or else it's not going to reflect what's really happening. Especially if your cycle is irregular or you're on birth control, that's also going to affect how the tests come back or what shows up on those tests. So I did get my hormones tested, but only to share the results with others. I knew what the results were going to be before I even got the test results back. Because of the symptoms that I was having, I knew what hormone imbalances that I had. If you're having symptoms like low energy, like painful periods, like PMS, difficulty losing weight, you most likely do have a hormone imbalance, and a test is just going to confirm that. So what I recommend is let's just do the steps that you would have to do anyways to support your hormones. Start with foundational changes first, like balancing your blood sugar, improving your sleep, improving your stress, cycle syncing, and then if you still feel off after that or want to dig a little bit deeper, then you can explore testing. Most hormone tests are hundreds of dollars unless your doctor or insurance covers the test, which a lot of them don't in the United States. If you're really wanting to test, if you're like, no, I really want to know what hormones are imbalanced, I did the Dutch test. And again, that test was like $500, and I knew what it was going to say before I even got the results back. I knew that my estrogen and progesterone were going to be imbalanced. I knew that my cortisol was going to be off, and that's exactly what came back. Because I was having really painful periods, I was really tired throughout the day. Even though I was sleeping 8 hours at night, I knew what the test result was going to say. But I just did it in case anybody wanted proof that I had my hormones were imbalanced. I'm in this teaching position, so I felt like I should have that proof. But again, I didn't necessarily need it. So I recommend let's do those foundation first. Start there because you will feel so much better doing it, which brings us to question number 2. Where should I start if I think my hormones are off? This is such a good question, and I love when women ask it because it means that you're ready to take action, but you don't want to waste time. Like, where's the best place to start? The best place to start isn't with a supplement or a crazy diet. It's with your daily habits. There are 4 steps that I teach my clients when it comes to hormone balance. The first one is blood sugar balance. The second one is gut health. The third is improving sleep. And the fourth is managing your stress. These are the big categories that play a huge role in hormone balance. So If I was to come up with a plan of where to start so that you can hit all of these specific categories to support your hormones, here's what I would recommend. I'd want you to eat within 1 to 2 hours of waking up and include a protein, a healthy fat, and fiber, and then eat every 3 to 5 hours after that. Your body does really well with consistency. This helps to keep your blood sugar stable throughout the day, which is so important for hormone balance. A lot of the root causes of hormone imbalances are blood sugar imbalances. So you want to be taking steps to make sure that your blood sugar is staying stable throughout the day, and that does mean eating consistently throughout the day. So eat within 1 to 2 hours of waking up, include a protein, healthy fat, and fiber in that meal, and then try to eat every 3 to 5 hours after that while you're awake. You don't have to wake up in the middle of the night to eat, just while you're awake. Really, like, wake up, eat breakfast, lunch, dinner. If you know that your lunch and dinner is more than 5 hours apart, maybe put a snack in between. It's really that easy. The next one would be aim for at least 25 grams of protein at each meal to keep you full, to boost your metabolism, to manage cravings, and to keep your blood sugar stable. Protein is so important for keeping blood sugar stable, and you want to try to have at least 25 grams of protein at each meal. Prioritize your sleep. Sleep is so foundational. It doesn't matter how good you're eating, how well you're keeping your blood sugar stable, how much you're exercising. If you're not sleeping, none of that is going to matter. Sleep is so important. You want to have at least 7 hours of sleep every night. So prioritize that. If that means going to bed earlier, that means going to bed earlier. If that means not scrolling on your phone before bed, it means not scrolling on your phone. It's so important. If you are in this healing phase, you really want to prioritize good quality sleep. The next one would be manage stress daily, not just when you're already burnt out. You want to take steps that are managing your stress levels, because we live in a society today that is so stressful. I don't know anybody that doesn't have stress, and you could be having stress and you're not even feeling it necessarily. I have so many clients and so many women that tell me, like, I don't feel stressed, I think I'm good, but they're doing things that are spiking their cortisol without even knowing it. So cortisol is your stress hormone. So that's really what we want to focus on, keeping stable, not doing these cortisol spikes, not really stressing our body out. So do something every day that helps you to manage stress. So this could be prayer. Prayer is really great for managing stress. Walking is another one. Deep breathing, journaling, reading, whatever helps you feel less stressed. I don't know that personally. That's something that you're going to have to figure out, because everybody's body is different and everybody is different. Everybody feels less stressed in a different way. Some people like to relax, other people, relaxing stresses them out. So just find whatever works for you and then do that every single day. It is so important. The next one is support your gut health by increasing your fiber. Now, your gut plays such a big role in hormone health. Our hormones are either built up or broken down in the gut. So if your gut isn't working efficiently, you could be having too much of a certain hormone or too little of a certain hormone that's not being built up or not being broken down. So you really want to prioritize your gut health, and fiber is an amazing way to do that. You want to aim for 25 grams of fiber daily. If you do these things consistently, your body will begin to start to feel safe, and that's when your hormones start to shift. Then from there, we can really take it to the next level by incorporating cycle syncing, which does touch on all of these categories, but it takes it to the next level of doing specific things at specific times of the month to really support your hormones, to really take it to the next level. But you want these foundations in place no matter what, even if you are doing cycle syncing, because they are so important for your hormones. The blood sugar balance, the gut health, the sleep, and the stress are key. So question number 3 is, can I still lose weight with a hormone imbalance? And yes, absolutely you can, but it looks different than from what most of us are taught or what you might be used to if you've tried losing weight before. Traditionally, we are taught to be restrictive when we're trying to lose weight, right? Eat 1,200 calories, cut carbs, exercise more. You can't have any sugar when you're trying to lose weight. Just be in a calorie deficit. I'm sure that you've heard that if you've ever tried to lose weight in the past. But being too restrictive for too long or doing these yo-yo dieting, so being restrictive with dieting and then you go back to regular eating and then you go back to restrictive dieting and then you go back to regular eating. So that pattern of dieting, regular eating, that is a huge stress on our body. Especially for women, women's hormones are really sensitive to stress. You can slow down your metabolism, deplete your progesterone, lower your thyroid hormone, and increase your cortisol or your stress hormone. So this combination of hormone imbalances causes really painful periods, weight gain around your stomach especially, or difficulty losing weight, and low energy too. It can really cause you to be fatigued throughout the day. It causes infertility and digestive issues because when you're stressed, your body is not going to feel safe enough to have a baby. And if you're consistently restricting your food, digestion really takes a back seat. It can cause a whole bunch of issues. So to lose weight, you still have to be in a calorie deficit, right? I'm not saying that you don't. That is how weight loss works. But with all of these hormone imbalances going on, that's going to be so much harder than it sounds. So being in a calorie deficit sounds really easy, but when you have these hormone imbalances, it makes it hard. You need a specific number of calories every single day to function. So let's just say 2,000 for an example. Well, if what's going on above, like you've been restrictive dieting, yo-yoing, being restrictive, not eating enough, not eating consistently throughout the day for a long time, your body could slow down that number to like, let's say 1,400 or 1,300 calories a day. So now your body needs 1,400 or 1,300 calories to survive because it's slowed down to try to conserve what it's getting. So now you'd need to be eating 1,100 or 1,000 calories a day to lose weight. And I actually see this all the time in women. They eat low calories, but still aren't losing weight because of this process that I'm talking about. It's called metabolic adaptation. So even if the same number worked for you in the past, like a number would be like 1,200 or 1,300 calories to lose weight, if you need 1,000 because of this metabolic adaptation, you're not losing weight even though you're only eating 1,200 calories. So you could be thinking that you're in a calorie deficit and you aren't. So if you've ever been like, I'm in a calorie deficit, but I'm not losing weight, you're not in a calorie deficit because if you were, you would be losing weight. You've just slowed down your metabolism and you need less calories than what you think you do. So basically, we want to prevent that from happening. We want to be boosting your metabolism by supporting your hormones so that your body goes back to needing that 2,000 calories a day to sustain what it actually needs to function properly, not survive off of 1,000 calories. You need to be nourishing your body, not restricting too much. So basically, you want to be doing what we discussed in the last section. You want to be getting those foundations done. Blood sugar balance, gut health, sleep, and stress management. This is what supports your hormones that drive your metabolism to function properly. So what works really well for this if you are trying to lose weight? Don't skip meals. That really messes up your blood sugar. In terms of exercises, the best thing you can do is start to strength train or resistance training, something that is going to build up your muscle because the more muscle you have, the more calories you're burning at rest, the higher your metabolism is. If you're in a hormone healing phase, just focus on low intensity exercises like low impact strength training, Pilates, walking, versus doing really high intensity exercises like running a marathon or high intensity interval training or HIIT training. Those can spike your cortisol too much and can actually prevent this process. If you already have high cortisol, high stress, you will spike that even more, making it harder for you to lose weight. I do like cycle syncing workouts because it allows you to be exercising according to where your hormones are fluctuating. So you're not stressing out your body too much and making your hormone imbalances worse and your weight gain harder. And then like we talked about in the last section, increasing your protein, increasing your fiber. Those two things are so key if you're trying to lose weight, because our body doesn't digest fiber, but it tries to. So you're burning calories in that process, and it's harder for our body to digest protein. So again, you're burning calories in that process, boosting your metabolism when you eat more protein and you eat more fiber. Plus, it keeps your blood sugar stable. The fiber helps your gut health. So really going back to those foundations, making sure not to skip meals, and then exercising in a way that builds your muscle and doesn't stress your body out too much. When you give your body what it needs and you start supporting your hormones, it feels safe enough to let go of the weight. So a lot of the times this means not pushing yourself harder and just focusing on the foundations and the daily actions that will get you to your goal, which sounds really backwards when we're told to just keep pushing, just keep going, do more, do more. That's not always what works when you have hormone imbalances. So it's just doing the foundations, being consistent with it. It will pay off and you will see results. Question number 4, why do I feel so tired all the time, even when I sleep? This is such a frustrating one, right? You're doing everything you can, yet you feel like you're dragging. This was totally me. I just thought he was a tired girly. But once I started supporting my hormones, I was amazed at how much energy I had, even without caffeine. A lot of the times this is caused by blood sugar imbalances, cortisol, or stress, and it could even be could be thyroid related. So definitely ask your doctor to check your thyroid hormone. That is one they will test and usually is covered by insurance. So I would definitely check out your thyroid, because that is the main hormone involved in your metabolism. So if you are feeling like this, if you're really tired all the time, even though you sleep, or if you're really tired all day, but then at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, you're wide awake, you're ready to take on the day, that's a good sign of cortisol imbalances. So I would want you to go back to the blood sugar balance like we've been talking about. That really makes such a difference in your energy throughout the day. So more protein at your meals, eat a protein-rich breakfast within 1 to 2 hours of waking up, and then eating every 3 to 5 hours after that and not skipping meals is going to be really key. You need to give your body consistent energy throughout the day to have energy. So that one's going to be really big. Try not to drink coffee or caffeine on an empty stomach, because it can spike your cortisol or make your cortisol spikes worse. So a lot of the times, we have these cortisol spikes throughout the day. So if you're somebody that's really stressed and your cortisol spikes, if you have caffeine, that makes that cortisol spike worse. And having caffeine on an empty stomach can make that even worse, because you don't have any food there to blunt that blood sugars or that cortisol spike, right? So if you have food, it helps to slow down the absorption of caffeine in your body. So try to not have caffeine on an empty stomach. Create a relaxing nighttime routine with 0 screens for 30 minutes, prioritizing your sleep. Remember, sleep is so important. Eating more magnesium can also be helpful for relaxing or getting better sleep. Or you can even ask your doctor if magnesium glycinate is appropriate for you. You would want to take before bed, and it can really help with getting restful sleep. But again, going back to being consistent with the foundations is going to be so important and help you feel so much better and increase your energy. A lot of the times these symptoms that we're having, low energy, difficulty losing weight, painful periods, infertility, a lot of them are caused by the same thing. So if we could just get those foundations in place, you're going to notice a lot of these symptoms starting to improve. Next question number 5 is, I want to lose weight, but I also want to prepare my body for a baby. What should I do? And this question is so close to my heart because it's exactly what I'm doing right now. I wouldn't necessarily actually say that I want to lose weight anymore. I'm actually at the weight I was before I got pregnant, but I also lost a lot of muscle with pregnancy and breastfeeding. So muscle does weigh more than fat. So even though I weigh the same, I do not look the same. My focus is now on muscle building, and that is something that I regret not doing throughout my pregnancy. I wasn't as consistent with weights or resistance training during pregnancy. I stayed active, but I wasn't as consistent with maintaining my muscle mass. So that is going to be my goal next time, because I have noticed such a difference in the way my body is after. But while I was trying to lose weight postpartum, I did have in the back of my mind that I didn't want to mess up my hormones because I wanted to have another baby. So to lose that 60 pounds that I needed to lose, I made sure to, and this is what you'll want to do as well, you want to get those foundations right. The foundations that we've been talking about: blood sugar balance, stress management, gut health, sleep quality. You want to eat enough calories because you don't want to undereat. Undereating can suppress ovulation, which will turn off your fertility. Track your cycle so you can know when you're ovulating or around when you're ovulating. And I really like cycle syncing because it's giving your body the right nutrients at the right time. So it's supporting specifically your estrogen and your progesterone and the hormones involved in your menstrual cycle so that you can have healthy ovulation, which is how you get pregnant and you have a healthy pregnancy. You need a good balance of that estrogen and progesterone throughout your cycle to have a healthy pregnancy, to get pregnant, and, maintain the baby throughout the pregnancy, which is obviously what we want. Definitely don't push your body too much and don't restrict. Don't do that restrictive dieting. I know it can be so tempting, and I just had this conversation with one of my clients recently that it's so tempting when you are not at the result that you want yet to be restrictive. You have this mentality of, and I catch myself doing it too, is I want to be at a specific weight or I want my body to look a specific way. So I'm just going to keep pushing myself harder and harder and harder until I get there. But a lot of the times that can prevent you from ever getting there, right? So constantly having to remind myself that pushing does not mean success. Pushing does not mean that I'm going to get there faster. In fact, it could be messing up my progress. So just focusing on the foundations, even when you are maybe not seeing the results as fast as you want, especially if your hormones are imbalanced, sometimes it does take time for your body to heal, but you have to do those steps anyway to get through that, to heal your hormones so that your body can feel safe enough to lose weight. And then from there, when you're ready to get pregnant, if you've been doing those steps, you've been tracking your cycle, when you're ovulating, it should be a little bit easier. And obviously, if you're doing all these things, if you are then still not getting pregnant, definitely talking to your doctor about, there might be something else even going on. But definitely don't push yourself, don't restrict. If your body doesn't feel safe, it won't prioritize fertility, like we said. And God designed our bodies to respond to nourishment, not punishment. Question number 6 is, how long does it take to see results when balancing hormones? This one depends on a number of different factors, like how long you've been doing that yo-yo dieting restrict cycle, if you've had any pregnancies and never supported your hormones after, because pregnancy, breastfeeding, those things are huge stresses on your body. They mess up your hormones, necessarily mess up, but your hormones go through a lot during those two things. So if you've been through that and you've actually never taken time after to support your hormones, that could play a role. If you've been chronically stressed, that could play a role. Hormone cycles are at least 3 months, but it really could take up to a year to bring those hormones back into balance, depending on all of these factors. Now, that doesn't mean that you're not going to see results before that. You can start to feel better in just a few weeks. Typically, what I see with my clients is in the first few weeks, they have more energy, they have less bloating. So it could look something like weeks 1 to 4, you have better energy, less bloating. You might notice your skin getting a little bit clearer. Months 2 and 3, you might have better periods, more stable moods, and starting to see weight changes. And then months 3 to 6, consistent cycles, better sleep, fertility improves, the weight falls off easier. But again, that could be different for you depending on how severe your hormone imbalances are, all those factors again, and how consistent you are with the foundation. So I just wanted to say this because the consistency is key for this. Don't give up after 2 weeks. Your body is always responding, even if it's happening under the surface and you don't see it and you can't tell. Your body is responding. Sometimes the weight is the last thing that starts changing, which I know can be really frustrating. And I know, like I said, it can make you want to push harder and push your body more, but that's the worst thing that you can do. Just be patient, trust the process, keep the foundations, and maybe try some other ways to track progress if weight is really a big concern for you. So try some other ways to track progress that don't focus on just the number on the scale. And question number 7, why are my periods so painful or heavy? Is that normal? While it might be really common, it's not normal. Painful and heavy periods are often caused by an imbalance of estrogen and progesterone. These hormones are fluctuating all throughout the month, and in certain times of the month, you want estrogen higher, and then other times of the month, you want progesterone higher. But we live in a society that really favors excess estrogen, and when your estrogen is higher than your progesterone, when it's not supposed to be, that's when you get really painful periods, heavy periods, PMS, and even infertility that could cause. So, what helps with this is cycle syncing. This will teach you exactly what you need at what times of the month to support these hormones specifically. For example, increasing your fiber and cruciferous vegetables like broccoli or cauliflower around ovulation and in your luteal phase, that phase right before you get your period, can help you detox excess estrogen when progesterone is supposed to be higher, as well as not doing high intensity exercises in your luteal phase or on your period. So you're increasing your cortisol, which can literally turn off your progesterone, causing higher estrogen. Those are just a few examples of how cycle syncing can help, but I really do love cycle syncing because it does just teach your body what it needs at the right times. And I do have a whole episode talking about cycle syncing, so definitely check that out. But period pain is not just part of being a woman, it's a sign that your body needs support. All of these symptoms, low energy, difficulty losing weight, painful periods, infertility, this is a sign that your body needs support. It's so cool that that's the way our body was designed. So these symptoms are cues telling your body, I need support. I'm asking for help. They're not normal symptoms. Your body it doesn't have to be doing this. Yeah, period pain is not just part of being a woman. I used to have the worst periods ever, and now I barely feel my periods at all because I do all these steps. I do the foundations, I cycle sync as much as I can. A key thing is you don't have to be perfect with it, you just have to be consistent. So don't stress yourself out trying to be perfect and thinking like, oh no, I drank coffee before I ate, my hormones are completely messed up, I might as well just give up. No, no, no. That's the worst thing you can do. One thing is not going to ruin all of your progress. It's really just being consistent over time and consistently getting back on track. Even if you did have a bad day, even if you didn't follow all the steps perfectly, that's not the point. The point is just being consistent and doing it as much as you can. Any little thing that you can do is going to be supporting your hormones and is going to be helping you. So I think that was all of the questions that I had for today. But if you're ready to start balancing your hormones, I do have a free masterclass, The Secret to Effortless Weight Loss, More Energy, and Periods You Barely Notice, that dives into those foundations a little bit deeper. I will link that below for you. Comment below if you do have any more questions that you want me to ask about your hormones, and be sure to come follow me on Instagram, sheis.well, for more hormone balance content. Be sure to subscribe, share this with a friend if you found it helpful. Yeah, I hope you have a great day. Bye.